Tēnā koutou katoa and welcome to Te Wharewanaka Ora. Absolute pleasure to be here today to introduce this year's recipient of Lincoln University's most prestigious alumni honour, the Bledisloe. This is going to Kerry Allen. This award recognises the excellence and leadership in New Zealand land-based sectors. And this year we honour our alumna who has been unstoppable driving force in ensuring that agribusiness and agricultural and horticultural science are taught in secondary schools and primary schools across New Zealand. Graduating from Lincoln University with a Bachelor of Parks and Recreation and Tourism Management, Kerry went on to Christchurch Teachers College, where she majored in agriculture and horticulture, soon following her mother's footsteps into teaching. In the ensuing 30 years, Kerry has blazed a trail in a brilliant career that has combined her two great passions, teaching and agriculture. A staunch advocate of agri-education, he has encouraged generations of young people to pursue academic and vocational pathways in agriculture and horticulture through education and training. A particular career highlight saw Kerry and her colleagues introduce agribusiness into the school curriculum, the first time a proposed new subject was successfully pitched to the Ministry of Education. Today, Kerry's involvement in education includes a role as Curriculum Director for Agribusiness in Schools, based at St Paul's Collegiate School, and as Director of Sow the Seed, an agriculture and horticultural science education advisory team. She is also actively involved with the Horticulture and Agriculture Teachers Association, which supports around 400 schools and 600 teachers. It is only fitting that she receives the Bledisloe Medal, which she will receive tomorrow at graduation, from the university that shaped her own path and to which she remains deeply connected. A proud Lincoln alumna, Kerry Allen has exposed thousands of young New Zealanders to the land-based sector and the many rewarding careers within it. Please join me in congratulating our 2026 Bledisloe Medalist, Kerry Allen, and welcoming him to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone here today and thank you for coming. It was with very much a surprise and I was very humbled to be nominated for this award, let alone receive it, and even equally more humbling to see you all here today. When you start out on a career, often you are not sure where it will go or in fact what you are going to do. But there's always one thing that remains constant. He aha te mea nui o te ao. He tangata, he tangata, he tangata. Translated, it means, what is the most important thing in the world? It is the people, the people, the people. It is the people that are the most important in the world, and it's them who shape us. My journey starts with my family. I'm a 6th generation New Zealander with 4 generations having lived on my parents' farm. My great-grandfather was an injured sapper, and after returning home from World War I, I ended up on our farm in Rotorua. Since then, they have tolled the land, working hard to make it productive. My grandfather, one of 6 sons, has lots of stories to tell us, grandchildren about their farming escapades, working hard to produce food, breaking in the land, breaking in horses, breaking themselves, and in theory, producing a lot of food in the meantime. Our farm is immersed in history, not only Pākehā, but also Māori. In particular, horo e rangi. Horo e rangi is a Māori stone, a female ancestor or a guardian carved into the rock. Such stones were believed to maintain Māori or life force in areas which provided food for the Māori. Horo e rangi was carved into a rock face to preserve fertility of her people's land, and the stone is on our farm. The stone has since been removed, so it wouldn't be stolen, not by us, but it has been stolen twice. And it was removed to Auckland Museum and now has been relocated to Rotorua Museum. So I was the 3rd generation to go to my school. I tried hard, but I wasn't particularly academic. so I resonate with some of my current students. I had some amazing teachers, Mrs. Jo Eckroyd, who was my biology teacher, who insisted I write copious notes, and Mr. Gary Dender, who up until the end of last year was still teaching agriculture and horticultural science. I was able to do enough to ensure that I passed, and I gained entry to Lincoln University. I believe I was one of the first students from my school to come to Lincoln University. Doing something on the land was not really advocated at the time by my school. Had I been encouraged, they would have probably encouraged me to be a teacher. I didn't want to be a teacher. My mum is a teacher, and I saw how hard she worked in the long hours. So I decided that I would come to Lincoln University to do one of my other passions, which was conservation, and enrolling in a Bachelor of Parks, Recreation, Tourism Management. So that's what this was. Here, it was once again that people made the difference. Kerry Jane Wilson made a huge impact. I loved her enthusiasm and her passion for New Zealand birds and all her field trips. I thought conservation was really something that I would do as a career, but I soon realised it wasn't the only thing that I had an interest in. Phil Tonkin and John Hickford were just some of the inspirational lecturers that I had for their passion. Well, they had their passion for soil, animal science, and this made me want to learn more about agriculture and horticultural science. In hindsight, I probably should have done an agricultural horticultural degree, as I'd spent my whole life on a farm, and then I spent the last 5 years of secondary school working in a nursery, packing kiwi fruit, picking blueberries, potting up plants. But hindsight is a wonderful thing. Nowadays, I still have connections to the university with Jamie Schoen, John Hickford, Hugh Bigsby, Hamish Gow, are just some of the Lincoln staff that I have worked with in the last few years and who continue to inspire the next generation. However, Lincoln University not only provided me with an education, it also provided me with an extensive friend base and a husband. Many of those friends are still friends today. My husband, James, followed me to Lincoln, though he will deny that. While we did not meet here, we actually met on a Youth to Everest expedition. We have been inseparable ever since our first day here at Lincoln. While I loved the conservation, I was starting to admit that agriculture and education were actually my two passions. So upon graduating from Lincoln, I enrolled in Christchurch College of Education. Here, I did a diploma of teaching where I was one of the very last cohorts to specialise in agriculture and horticultural science teaching. I was also very interested in environmental education, obviously doing conservation, and while it was not a subject at the time, I had a really great teacher, Mr. Barry Law, who was instrumental in my maintaining my passion for the environment and the outdoors. It was through Barry and later on in my working career that I then went on to do a Masters of Environmental Education. Really wanted to do agricultural education, but there isn't such a thing. From there, I got a job as a horticulture teacher at Hillcrest High School in Hamilton under the tutelage of Iris Waghorn. Iris was my rock for many years, helping me to teach horticulture, manage the students, and all of our facilities. Iris took me in my first year to my first HATA conference, HATA being the Horticulture and Agriculture Teachers Association. Here I was exposed to some amazing and inspirational teachers, such as Mike Woodlock, Judy Walsaby, and Susan Stokes, who helped me with resources, guidance, answering any questions that I had. Didn't matter how silly they were. I have now been a member of HATA for 30 years. That sort of sounds scary. And I've been the Secretary Treasurer for 20. However, it is what HATA has provided me as a young teacher and is the reason why I continue to work with them. Being supported while I was a young teacher ensured that I want to give back just as much as they gave me. Now, while I'm a hort teacher, there has been a lot of amusing stories, mostly about growing crops. I have been called into the principal's office more than once, might I add, and been asked to explain myself as to why a student might have been growing marijuana seeds. I usually jokingly say it's because they don't pay me enough, but after they realise I'm actually joking, we normally ascertain to what the actual story is. So, as one of my year 12 students was growing what he told his parents, and most of them, to be honest, do, tomatoes, as a school project on his kitchen bench at home. And in fact, Mum was watering them. However, over the weekend, they had a friend over who was a policeman. And he casually asked who was growing the illegal crop. After the crop was actually explained to what it was, the parents were mortified to think that their son was growing this illegal substance. So they confronted him, upon which, I'm sure just to divert the attention, told them that his teacher had given it to them. Upon the principal telling me this, I said to him, rest assured, I said, if I had marijuana seed, I would not be giving them to a student to grow. I'd be growing them myself. To which he sort of looked at me because I think he thought I was serious. Anyway, there's been more than one occasion, being a hort teacher, you do have a lot of opportunity to grow tomatoes. Another one is being in a glass house and walking down the aisle and seeing 4 plants that clearly are no longer tomatoes and just removing them for weeding. Anyway, in 2014, I was provided with another opportunity, and this time in a slightly different direction. Grant Lander, the headmaster at St Paul's Collegiate School, had been given the go-ahead for a new program which they called agribusiness. I came on board to be the curriculum director, as over the last 18 years at Hillcrest, I had been working on and off in the curriculum space with the Ministry of Education on agriculture and horticultural science, as well as working for NZQA. Without this vision from Grant Lander, the Deputy Headmaster Peter Hampton and the Agriculture and Horticultural Science teacher Chris Foote, the agribusiness program would not have been established. Agribusiness is defined as a course of study that integrates all the primary industries and the businesses that are involved along the whole value chain, including manufacturing, production, storage, processing, distribution, marketing, and along with them, those support industries. I would like to say that agriculture and horticultural science in schools is generally on farm, on boat, on orchard management practices, and agribusinesses from the farm gate, orchard gate, or from there to the consumer. One of the reasons for the implementation of agribusiness program was the need to provide for our best and brightest students with a high academic focus an agribusiness curriculum which would attract them to the sector and enable them to be future leaders. These students might not go into food and fibre production, rather than go from there somewhere else along that value chain. The New Zealand economy was shifting from commodity low-value items to innovative, specialised, high-value technologies, which were in demand around the world. And this was fueling the country's export earnings. If New Zealand wanted to maintain or grow place in the marketplace, we needed to think differently about the way we viewed careers in the primary industries and reflect this at an early stage in the education of our young people. For too long, agriculture subjects and courses have tended to be vocational. We need farmers, but we haven't pitched this to the right to attract young people across that whole spectrum of skills: commerce, science, engineering, technology, information technology, just to name a few. And this is denying those young people a wider choice of careers in an industry that has limitless potential. Public perception is that agriculture and horticultural science in general is for less able students. School and community perceptions of the importance of agribusiness to New Zealand needs improving, and the opportunities and pathways that are available were also not recognised or well known. In addition, there is a need for incentives that provide a better link between secondary schools, tertiary institutions, and the agribusiness sector. So with strong support from the agribusiness sector, St Paul's Collegiate School spent the first 4 years developing a program based on current achievement standards to cultivate the highly skilled, motivated young people needed for a sustainable primary industry. This initiative eventually led to the creation of the new agribusiness curriculum at NCA levels 2 and 3. Formally adopted by the Ministry of Education and NZQA, agribusiness is now a fully resourced subject available to all secondary schools across the country. Securing funding from our business partners, the program was able to secure amazing agribusiness advisor Melanie Simmons to help roll out the program. Agribusiness in schools has had amazing success, from its introductory into the curriculum in 2018, marking the first time a proposed new subject was pitched to the Ministry of Education, to having 128 schools last year teaching it, and to the combined 23,500 students who have now taken the subject over the last 9 years. It has been successful. Agribusiness students are 3.6 times more likely to be enrolled in related tertiary training than those who didn't take the subject. Students from this program are 3 times more likely to be employed in the primary sector, with 22 to 44% entering the primary sector employment. We're also engaging a wider demographic. In 2023, female students made up 44% of the cohort, the highest level since the program began. We are reaching beyond traditional rural communities. In the same year, close to 60% of our students were from urban backgrounds, and also 60% faced moderate socioeconomic barriers, reaffirming that agri-education is accessible to all. While the agribusiness subject was having success, the agriculture and horticultural science subject was still experiencing slow growth and poor image. So piggybacking on the success of agribusiness in schools program, St Paul's Collegiate and HARTA established the Sow the Seed advisory program to support agriculture and horticultural science subject as well. Securing a funding grant from the Ministry of Primary Industries has meant that over the last 4 years, we've been able to promote and enhance an agri-education program nationwide. Now with a fantastic team, an agriculture and horticultural science advisor, Susie Newman, a resource writer, Susan Stokes, yes, the one that helped me 30 years ago, and a marketing communications extraordinaire, Waiata Wonga. Sow the Seed, and in conjunction with HARTA, have gone from strength to strength. Today, HARTA and agribusiness in schools support over 400 schools and 600 teachers. It is exciting to look at the numbers for the Sow the Seed program in 2025. It is really encouraging to see the scale of engagement we're achieving. We have 339 schools actively involved last year. Even with a slight dip in the numbers of schools compared to last year, because we lost level 1, the actual student numbers have grown significantly. We are now supporting a total of 12,500 students across both achievement standards and unit standards in a year. In terms of who's in the classroom, the gender split is 63% male and 37% female, with over 30% identifying as Māori. We are also seeing solid and growing representation from our Asian and Pacifica communities, which together make up 12% of the total. The academic results speak for themselves. With over 42,000 grades recorded last year, the students achieved an 87% pass rate. While the majority of those were achieved due to unit standards, we also saw a combined total of nearly 6,000 merits and excellent grades, which shows that a large number of students are excelling in the subject matter. Overall, 2025 has been a year of expanding the student base and maintaining a really high standard of performance across the board. It is great to see that even as the program evolves, the success rate for the students remains consistently strong. When agri-education is visible in secondary schools, students gain this knowledge early on, and we avoid future gaps in our workforce. When we align secondary and tertiary curricula, we see an increase in both numbers and in the quality of those students pursuing land-based degrees. This has been recently highlighted at Lincoln with the growth of the number of students. I personally have contributed to this with 2 of my sons, one of them who's graduating tomorrow, enrolling in a Bachelor of Agricultural Commerce. And if we're lucky, we might get the third one as well. One of the biggest things I missed during my own schooling was just how diverse the pathway, the primary sector pathway is. There is no single pathway in the primary industries. People enter in many different ways, build different skills over time, change direction, and combining practical experience with technology, finance, or creative roles. What we don't communicate enough is that agribusiness and agricultural horticultural science can take you anywhere. You can travel the world through this industry, or you can build a life working on a single property. Basically, it's an industry that offers you both a passport and a home, depending on which day you ask. Despite the clear links between our land and our future, the primary industries remain largely undervalued in our education system. In September the last year, the Ministry of Education sought to remove agriculture and horticultural science and agribusiness from our national curriculum and subject list. Thankfully, over the last 30 years, HARTA, Agribusiness in Schools and Sow the Seed have worked really hard with people and agribusinesses in the industry who have supported agri-education. It was this support that we now turn to help us lobby the Minister of Education to get our subjects back. This announcement sparked a significant wave of media coverage highlighting the deep-seated value that New Zealand public and industry leaders placed on the primary sector education. The discourse across print, radio, television scored a clear message. Agribusiness and agricultural horticultural science is vital to our national identity and our economic future. Out of the numerous subjects that have been removed, such as outdoor ed, environmental education, and art history, to name a few, the agri subjects were the only ones to be reinstated, even with a 50,000 signature for outdoor ed. They still have not. This is due once again to the people who stood up and explained why these subjects should be in our curriculum. And I want to thank all those people, the ministers, the farmers, the industry groups like Dairy NZ, Federated Farmers, and all the other people who lobbied hard and got the turnaround that we needed. A serendipitous win for the Agribusiness in Schools program to come out of this reversal is that it has been placed in the business studies subject. So it's not a single subject anymore, it'll be in the business studies. And we're hoping, so it should be there, visible and explicit, and now it will be in front of all the students who do business studies as well. The introduction of the primary industries as a designated vocational pathway subject in years 12 and 13 also represents a significant shift in the educational landscape, focusing on high-quality, industry-led vocational pathways. Announced as part of the 2025 curriculum refresh, this subject is designed to sit alongside the general academic subjects, providing a clear and practical pathway for students into New Zealand's powerhouse industry. Unlike traditional academic frameworks, the new primary industry subject is going to be developed in collaboration with the new Food and Fibre Industry Skills Board. This will ensure that the learning is directly aligned with the current needs of the workforce, from sustainable farm practices and high-tech horticulture to forestry and seafood production. While industry-led, the subject counts towards a single, cohesive national qualification, ensuring students gain a credential that is respected by both employers and future training pathways. However, the battle is not over. Agri-education is currently facing some further issues. We are still underrepresented in the national curriculum, and I see this as a significant missed opportunity. While the sector is touched on subjects like geography or biology, the coverage is often limited, disjointed, or lacking cohesion. Agri-education is currently at our lowest support ever at a government level regarding curriculum inclusion. While we have never been in the curriculum, food and fibre production is again absent from the new draft Year 1 to 10 science curriculum. Both Agribusiness in Schools and Sow the Seed have been advocating to get agri-education included, ensuring that all teachers in primary and intermediate schools would need to be teaching and incorporating this knowledge into their programs. While we've been assured of agriculture and horticultural science subject at years 12 and 13, and agribusiness is incorporated into business studies, subject at those same 2 levels, we have had no official confirmation of any agri-education anywhere below those 2 levels. It is not clear what is happening at year 11, whether the subject will be amalgamated with all the other sciences into one subject, but it is currently not looking like we will be a standalone subject. While many schools will continue to offer some form of agri-education in their junior classes regardless, this lack of exposure and visibility creates a talent pipeline risk. It does our young people no favours by narrowing their knowledge or their career horizons instead of broadening them into our premium export industry. The network of Hearten and agribusiness in schools is the backbone of our efforts to ensure agri-education is not forgotten. After all, which sector contributes the most to our export earnings? Is it not time that our curriculum reflected that? When I started my career, I did not think I would have moved so far into the curriculum space, nor lobbied so hard for agri-education. I recently saw a meme based on the Tui Bear ads, and it said, "I became a teacher so I could lobby for curriculum changes." Yeah, right. I certainly did not become a teacher to be consistently fighting to maintain agri-education in our schooling system. The last 7 years has been particularly draining fighting for our subject. I became a teacher as I had a passion for agri-education and wanted to pass that knowledge on and to advocate for a great career in the primary industries. Students today deeply care about the world. They are aware of the climate issues and the ethical concerns. What they often lack is a deeper understanding of how food is produced, who produces it, and how it connects to everything from biodiversity to energy use. We're constantly being told that our sectors are valued, but we need those words to be turned into actions within our schools. To the educators out there, keep on encouraging curiosity and keeping the agri pathways open. To the industry leaders, educators need your continued partnership, to ensure our teaching remains grounded in real-world experience and resources. I looked out today when I was at some of the other functions, and my heart is full seeing all these young people inspired to be in agri-education. This is what drives me, and still drives me at school. The world needs food, and New Zealand is uniquely positioned to provide it. We want to make sure our young people have the skills and the passion to lead us there and to do it with pride. Behind every good person is a great team, and I want to thank the teachers, the business partners, my colleagues, my team, and St Paul's Collegiate School who've believed and supported this vision. I must acknowledge the many people I work alongside, particularly the hardworking teachers who educate our young people, who write programs helping to create a strong educational pathway that encourages them to pursue higher learning in land-based sector. They are the real unsung heroes who do all the mahi behind the scenes. Thank you to my family for all their support who've allowed me to follow my passions. I would not have been able to do it without you. Thank you. At the end of the day, life is far more enjoyable when you work on something you genuinely care about. If you stay open to learning and put yourself out there, it's amazing how often the opportunities follow passion rather than the other way around. This is what I have found. I want to thank Lincoln University for recognising the hard mahi that has been put into the agri-education space. I feel very honoured to receive the Bledisloe Medal in recognition of my commitment to developing and promoting agri-education, and I haven't finished yet. It's an honour to be held in the same esteem as the previous recipients. It's a real privilege to say that with teamwork and collaboration, the acceptance of the Bledisloe Medal has been a combined effort of he tangata, he tangata, he tangata. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thank you for a wonderful presentation highlighting Coming from a former school teacher, I think. Yes. There's an opportunity here, I think, to ask some questions of you around your career, and in particular the contribution to agribusiness curriculum, which has been very powerful. And I thought late last year, when it was disappearing out of the it was great to particularly from you and others and the providers, and that provided that change that actually occurred there. But an opportunity to ask some questions. I have several. I will go. Okay, and I shared this one over lunch. You spoke about teaching horticulture. Okay, and I think horticulture in the tertiary sector is very hard to attract students into. And I asked the question, well, how can we actually attract more students into horticulture in the tertiary sector as well as the secondary sector? And do you have any insights into that? Because it appears to be an industry that has really high value, but actually doesn't have a lot of students.
No, if I had the answer to that, no. But we are one of, what I do find interesting is New Zealand is one of the only countries in the world to separate agriculture and horticulture out. Like you go anywhere else in the world, it's not separate. And I think that plays into part of the perception. I tend to say it, though I mostly teach hort. I don't think horticulture is seen to be as a sexy career pathway as agriculture, unfortunately. If I talk to my students about how we're going to learn to grow grass, they're all like, oh, we don't want to do that. I want to talk about animals. And I'm like, yeah, but you have to grow grass to grow animals. So we're going to grow grass first. So no, I don't have any amazing insights, because otherwise I would have a whole class full of small students. Instead, I have a mixed bunch bag. But basically, they all generally tend to want to be livestock farmers or go down the livestock sort of way.
These other questions. Christine, and then.
Kerry, thank you very much, and thank you for lobbying so hard for us a while back. My question is kind of stems off of grants. So I'm the Dean of Agriculture and Life Sciences, so I'm quite keen also to grow horticulture. My question, though, is that oftentimes the university, the tertiary sector, is going to benefit from those wonderful students whose interest in our area of research and teaching you're encouraging in them. What I want to know is, how can a university who's very much tertiary based help to do that? Obviously, we're not a huge in outreach and extension or those kinds of activities, because we keep ourselves, in the tertiary space. But how can we assist in growing the interest and passion for agricultural sciences, including horticulture, and all of the other wonderful offerings that we have? What can we do?
A lot of what you already are doing. You do have an outreach program where both teachers and students can come and talk or listen, or they come to you. You do send some of your people our way, and we have them in our classrooms. So that does happen. I think the passion is there. I just think sometimes it's the system crushes it in schools. No one would ever think about getting rid of biology or chemistry, but they will not hesitate to get rid of ag science. So it's just a perception thing, because to me, ag science is just applied chemistry and applied biology. So it's actually I can probably get every single one of my kids' jobs. A chemistry teacher cannot, unfortunately, they don't have track pathways. So to me, it's not about what you're not doing or not. I think it's just keep encouraging, keep advocating for it, because one day it will just be a thing and not fighting all the time.
Please, I'll come to Margaret. Yeah. No.
Oh, the pilot group inside the Ministry of Education who has responsibility for curriculum design. Did they talk to you? And if not, why not?
Yes, I am part of that, but it's a big beast, and sometimes they're on a trajectory. So it was so getting rid of subjects is a cost-cutting measure, essentially. They did no consultation, but they believed that the industry only wants vocational. I rest assured that that's not what only that the industry wants. I'm sure you don't just want that. But that is what they were led to believe, and so that's why one of the reasons it was cut. There is no one in the ministry that understands the industry.
So do you talk to people further up the food chain? So
I talk to everybody who will listen. Quite often I get hung up on just ignore the but yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I do my best.
Question for Margaret.
Thank you very much indeed. I have to say to you, first of all, your commentary this evening, this afternoon, has filled me with a degree of confidence that I have been lacking for months. And for that reason, the fact that you are aware of what was done and what needs to be done, and the focus on years 12 and 13, I think is absolutely correct. I was involved, and I want to follow on with your question, in curriculum development in the 60s in science and biology, in the 70s in writing the biological curriculum, in the 80s with the Commonwealth Fellowship, in the design of the curriculum, which was put in place in this country in 1992. The importance of initiation of the young into the areas of knowledge that cannot be left to chance seems to have been forgotten, and it has to be reinvented. So what you were telling us fills me with the confidence that you have got that in your mind. But you see, there's something else, and that is the importance of linking. I was at a Commonwealth function last evening, and at least 2/3 of the recipients of honours in the new year of this year mentioned linking in their responses to the citations. And that filled me with confidence. But you see, Lincoln, I think, has a reputation, and it also has a function. Who was the first institution that we came to when we needed to engage the teachers in professional development? It was Lincoln University. Every school holidays, we arranged for courses to be held out here to engage with the staff in the labs, in the field, in professional development courses. And what I would like to suggest is that perhaps the Vice Chancellor might take that on board.
We have had a HATA conference here a few years ago.
More questions.
Kerry, so you've talked about, obviously, you've done a lot of work in advocacy to retain agriculture within the curriculum. How do you move to a space of actually championing that, and actually having more proactive, or the industry having more proactive appreciation of its role? Because it's a huge effort that you've put into actually keep it within the curriculum. How do you move into that space of actually, if you can, to actually have it as a conceived as more of a champion of across the industry?
The most thing that normally happens is that when we ask for help, that's genuinely what we want. It's we're seeking advice or guidance or resources or something that's we're trying to project in a particular direction. So if we get that done right and work with the industry to have that correct, that it just flows after that. So, so if I'm working with an industry group, because we don't have any resources in a particular thing, so you're probably not aware, but ag science has no textbooks, mainly because it changes so often, to be honest, because it's revolutionary, it's innovative, it's always changing, so it's not like maths, you have to change quite some time. Agriculture changes all the time, so we're always trying to be up to date, finding out new information. I'm always asking people what industry, what's happening now. I need to know this. Kids are, need to come get the latest information, and it's usually that I ask for help, because obviously not being directly in it, that's where I need that help. And once the kids, like yesterday, we were on a field trip. The students went to Halter, went to a poultry farm. Once the students see that, it blows their mind. So one of them was my son, actually, was in the class, and even he, who knows a lot about, came home and was like, oh, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, that's why we go on field trips, that's why. But often getting out on a farm or getting into an industry, and an agribusiness industry can be very difficult. So I take all my kids to a pig farm. It's really hard to get on a pig farm. I literally plead with them every time to secure, because otherwise all they see is whatever's put on the internet. They'll never go on a pig farm ever. But yeah, so when I seek help, it's usually because I need something, because I can't get it anywhere else.
So how do you get the minister? You talk about chemistry, biology, in the big drop. How do you get the minister to see agriculture as just important?
Well, currently I've been lobbying all her fellow MPs who have been going to her office and talking to her, who happen to have her phone number and do lobbying. So indirectly, then other people lobbying. Quite often I would set something up and then just watch it play out in the background, which is sort of a little bit on the side. But it's basically making her understand that it is a needed subject and it is wanted by industry. Otherwise, she just doesn't know. To be fair to her, I mean, you don't know what you're doing. So if she doesn't know anything about farm industry, and she comes from North Auckland, and I don't think maybe ever set up foot on a farm, or any primary industry for that matter, she just doesn't understand. She just doesn't know. So it's just about lobbying her, and I do send her a lot of stuff. I'm just not sure if she reads it. It goes to her office. Yeah.
Please.
I would say if she hadn't had kids though, that perhaps is the opportunity to bring that in. And I'm thinking things like Children's University, which of course takes place out here, and Greek, and things like that need to be furthered, because that is for kids year 3, year 4 onwards. And if that can be combined with a little bit of innovation or entrepreneurship, say at a basic level, then that is something that really blows their mind.
Yes.
And that is what I was going to ask, is the business studies that agriculture has now been absorbed back into, or looking like it might, is there an element of that innovation and entrepreneurship as well?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that will remain in the curriculum.
It's all tied in, and that's going to present.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer in innovation, and my students, if you ever go to field days, if you go to the Young Innovator there, you'll see my students there. I've got 3 groups there this year. They all, every year, have to come up with an innovation. Sometimes they're not hugely innovative, but we try to be. And then they present them there at field days. We've won it 8 out of the 10 years. Then my son actually ended up being there as well. While he didn't win, they had an innovation there. But that's a very important part about getting them thinking. It doesn't always have to be right. The prototype doesn't always have to be the best. But it's about them thinking about problems and problem solving and what they can do about it. And then all the people that they meet at field days, I say they learn more at field days and doing that whole process than I can ever teach them. And then they have all these opportunities and all these people that will come in and talk to them. And they are mind blown by the end of the 4 days. They've had so many opportunities and people have talked to them, and they've learned way more than I can teach in class, which is really important. For me, everything real life is really important. I'm really one for teaching something and then we do it, or we do it and then I teach them. So yeah, last week we made cheese, made camembert cheese. Yeah, I make all sorts of things. Sometimes my headmaster is not that happy because I also make beer, wine, cider from our orchard. So all our things in our orchard we use and make something with. I have a hectare orchard, so it's got full crops in there. And we're always making things like biltong, last week cheese, but yeah, always trying to do something innovative and bring the students along. So we're learning new things and being fun and innovative. And one of the reasons we don't have textbooks is because it doesn't teach so much.
Kerry, just the opportunity to kind of connect with those who are early in their career, maybe those first kind of 5 years or so in whichever region the schools are, and bring those kind of early career professionals in to chat about their own experience?
Yes, so lots of schools do lots of different things. Like our school, we have a whole careers day that brings in 75 people, different people from all over different sectors, and yeah, the students have to go around different people. But there are, as part of the Sow the Seed program, we have career profiles that are up to 136, so we've got different profiles, but we're also doing our own profiles as well. So you're trying to find those students that have gone through the Ag Port Science program or the agribusiness program, and then where they've gone from there. So yeah, trying to link it all back in and then send those ones to the schools and go, look, this is what these kids have done in the primary sector from your school. And highlighting that. If we don't do that enough, we'll do that when they've won some other award or something, but we don't actually do it about careers. And I think that's really important. There's thousands of careers and yeah, they need to know about them. If they don't know, they don't know. So good one for trying to bring that loop back.
Imagine just good question. Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a gap in the storytelling about this, because we've got the country calendar, things like country calendar is a huge, and it's been for decades in New Zealand. I was wondering, is the story coming out? Is there other ways to tell that story over and over about the innovation? Certainly there must be a format on how these different stories come to life and come to a broader audience, since it is so fundamental for New Zealand. Your thoughts on that? Am I missing something?
Well, I have a marketing manager who does most of mine, but we have actually got a country calendar coming up. It will be based in the Manawatu, so it will be with Fielding High School, probably Wairarapa College as well. But yeah, it wasn't seen to be a news-worthy story. So we've been lobbying for at least 10 years, and we've finally got a foot in the door. There's always other things that they have been on top of. But yeah, it's just trying to get. We're definitely getting more of a flow on. But yeah, that's not my expertise, so I need someone else to do that for me. But no,
Perhaps an opportunity for one or two last questions. Kerry, thank you very much for the presentation today. The enthralling journey that you've taken us on around the development of the agribusiness curriculum, horticulture teaching. And I think we will remain in awe of how it has transformed the lives of young people and put them into very valuable careers, not only for themselves, but for the future of New Zealand as well. And that our contribution be recognised here at the university by the graduates coming through, particularly into agribusiness and commerce and so forth. And that is a very powerful contribution. We look forward to tomorrow, to the official awarding of the ceremony at graduation tomorrow, and to celebrating that with you. Ben is graduating the same ceremony tomorrow, which is actually good to see that. So thank you very much for your attention.
thank you.
And please join me in thank you.